Hi everyone, this is Alyssa with AmadorArts and welcome to this week's tutorial. So this week I'm going to be showing you how to create a miniature acrylic painting, and it's going to be a mini canvas with its own little easel. And so I'm going to be doing a sloth on that. So I hope you enjoy this video, and you're welcome to always follow along with me and go and get a miniature little canvas as well, and paint along with me and create the same image that I'm going to be creating. And you could also do your own thing, and you're welcome to put in the comments if you happen to do something such as this. I would love to see it. So you can like our page on Facebook, Amador Arts, or we also post these to our YouTube page, so you can find us there at Amador County Arts Council. All right, let's get started. So I'm not using many supplies today. So I've got my miniature canvas here, and then I've got my palette and my paintbrushes, my pencil to sketch it out first, my water, and my paper towels. And then I've got all my paints here, so I usually use Liquitex Basics for most of my things. I have Master's Touch whenever I run out of my basics. So that's pretty much it. And so here's a little mini canvas. So what I'm going to be doing is just taking it off of the easel and putting the easel to the side. And then I'm going to be painting on it here. And so you can get these little mini canvases, most art stores. I think this I just got in a pack on Amazon because it was cheaper to buy in bulk, because I do a lot of miniature canvases and sell them. But you can get these at Walmart, you can get them at Joann's, you can get packs of them at Michael's as well. And you can get them in white or black, depending on what you're going to be using them for. The first thing I'm going to do is take my pencil and I'm going to start to sketch my sloth. My sketch is going to have very light lines, and I'm not going to be doing any shading. That's because if you start to shade and then you go and add your acrylic paint, it's going to blend in with the graphite and it's not going to look very good. It's going to look pretty messy. So just do some very light lines. So the first thing that I start with my miniature acrylic paintings is the background. So I'm mixing some green right now, and I'm going to be using that as the background because I want it to look like there's trees behind him. So what I'm going to start doing with this green is filling in the entire background with one solid coat, and then I'm going to add the shadows and the highlights over that. Don't forget to also paint the sides of your canvas as well. Now I'm adding some white to the brush, and I'm going to be using this as my highlight. Once I blend in the lighter green nicely, I'm going to make a darker green, and I'm going to use this for my shading. Once I start blending this green in, I'm going to start adding some texture by using the side of my brush to create what looks like leaves in the background. I'm then going to go back over with more of a middle tone green so that I can blend these little leaves in. Now I'm going to take a finely pointed paintbrush and I'm going to start shaping the eyes. Now I'm going to mix a little bit of brown into my black, and I'm going to start creating the dark spots around his eyes. I'm leaving a little bit of space around his eyes so that you can see his eyelids. I'm going to use a lighter brown on the left side because that's where the light source is coming from. I'm now going to add a little bit of extra detail to the eyes. So I'm adding a little bit of brown, that way you can see where his pupil is and where his iris is. And then I'm going to add 2 more little dots of highlight too, because that's shown in my reference photo. He's got a lot of darker area and what looks like thicker black hair underneath in his chin area, so I'm going to start adding some layers and getting darker under there. I'm using a tan shade of brown to shade the white areas of his face. Now that the brown around his chin has dried, I'm going to start adding some more layers over top. You'll want to remember where your light source is coming from when you start shading the nose, because you want the highlight to come from the left side if your light source is on that side, and then you want the nose shadow to be heading towards the right. Now that his face is just about finished, I'm going to start on the rest of his head. He has some white areas on his arm that I've marked with my pencil, so I'm going to try to make sure that I avoid adding brown to those areas. Now I'm just going to start blending in some darker brown into his elbow area. The hairs on his arm are pretty defined, so I'm going to try to make sure that you can see all the little individual hairs. He's got a little bit of hair that sticks out around his neckline, so I'm going to try to add that in now. Now I'm starting the branch that he's sitting on. So I'm using the same brown that I used for his body, but I added some green to it and it created that goldish hue. So I'm going to start blocking out this color and then I'll add over top of it after. And of course, don't forget the sides as well. I'm mixing in some white to add some bumpy areas to the bark. Now I'm going to go back in and shade with some of this golden brown. I'm going to put this brown in the grooves on the bark. Because his arm gets a little lost against the bark, what I'm going to do is add some darker brown there so that there's more definition between the two. That way you can tell where the arm begins and where the bark ends. And that way you can better differentiate between the two. So once that's done, it's all finished. So I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to sign it. The reason why I don't sign on the other side is because it's such a small canvas that if you add your name in there, it's going to be too big for this size of canvas and it's going to draw too much attention. So what I do is sign on the back. That way I can also have room to write the date that I did this miniature canvas as well. And there you have it, he's all finished. These miniature canvases are great for people who work in an office space or that are a teacher because they can set them on their desk and they look really nice. All right, so that's it for this week's tutorial. So thank you for being here, and I hope you learned something new. And if you have any little paintings that you did along with me, please share them in the comments. And if you want to see more videos like this, you can like our page on Facebook, AmadorArts, or we also have our YouTube channel, Amador County Arts Council, so you can subscribe to us on there as well. So if you have any suggestions for next week, you're welcome to drop them in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. All right, bye.